Welcome back, folks. It's Chris, the Critical Nerd, and today I need to talk about the beautiful disaster that is Marvel's Ironheart trailer. A trailer so beloved it amassed 250,000 dislikes on YouTube in just one day. Yeah, you heard that right. Marvel dropped the Ironheart trailer and fans dropped the hammer of backlash on it. True Critical Nerd fashion, let's dive into this mess with a critical and sarcastic eye. Strap in because Ironheart is getting roasted harder than Tony Stark's armor in a lightning strike. So, at a glance, you can see here, this is the official Marvel Entertainment page on YouTube, and it tells a story. The story is this: 160,000 likes to a whopping 253,000 plus dislikes. A glaring ratio that's only growing wider by the hour. That's an absolutely brutal reception, bordering on historic. In fact, it's almost on the scale of Disney's infamous Snow White trailer fiasco, which racked up hundreds of thousands to millions of dislikes amid fan outrage. Clearly, Marvel's latest project is off to a fantastic start. To put it plainly, Ironheart's trailer got ratioed into oblivion. Even though YouTube officially hides dislike counts these days, fans found a way to make their dissatisfaction impossible to ignore. As of the recording of this video, the trailer has over 6.1 million views, but barely 160,000 likes compared to 253,000 dislikes. An avalanche of backlash that Marvel can't just keep sweeping under the rug. It's not just a slight split, it's a loud, blaring rejection. Marvel wanted hype, but it got a horror show on the like-dislike bar. And guess what? Marvel's timing couldn't have been worse. In one of the most unfortunate scheduling blunders in recent superhero marketing, Marvel released the Ironheart trailer on the very same day DC dropped James Gunn's shiny new Superman trailer. Talk about setting yourself up for embarrassment. Both trailers garnered around 2.5 million views in short order, but the fan reactions were polar opposites. The numbers speak volumes. Superman's trailer soared with about 257,000 likes to only 7,000 dislikes, while Ironheart limped in with roughly 116,000 likes to 99,000 dislikes in that same time frame. Ouch. That's basically a KO punch in trailer terms. Superman came in offering optimism and nostalgia, and fans responded with love. Ironheart showed up with whatever it's selling, and fans responded with a big fat no. As one outlet quipped, it truly was a tale of two trailers. Superman soared as Ironheart got left eating cosmic dust. Now, Marvel might have hoped nobody would notice this negativity, but come on, we're all fanboys, not oblivious. Even mainstream sites have reported that the Ironheart teaser was dislike bombed to an absurd degree. You can even find gleeful comments pointing this out. One top commenter cheekily advised, pro tip, keep your expectations low so you won't be disappointed. Which, let's be honest, might as well be the Ironheart marketing tagline at this point. The backlash is loud and clear. Marvel wanted excitement. Instead, they got exasperation. So, what exactly are fans railing against? Let's break down the greatest hits of the Ironheart backlash. According to fan responses and commentary so far, here are the recurring themes in the criticism. Formulaic girl boss vibes. Viewers feel Ironheart is leaning into the MCU's well-worn girl boss template, complete with a quippy teenage genius protagonist tossing snarky one-liners and "I'm so awesome" moments. It's the same formula they've seen in projects like The Marvels or She-Hulk, and folks are tired of it. As one commentary put it, Ironheart comes off as flashy visuals and forced empowerment over character depth. In other words, style over substance, and fans aren't buying it. Next, we have overuse of DEI and identity politics. Many believe Marvel is more obsessed with diversity, equity, and inclusion checkboxes than with good storytelling. Ironheart is widely seen as Iron Man's DEI replacement, essentially a box-ticking exercise to replace Tony Stark with a younger female black character. Now, diversity in itself isn't a bad thing. It's great when it's done organically. Keyword, organically. But fans smell tokenism from a mile away. The consensus is that Marvel is pushing an agenda first and crafting a compelling narrative second. When a show's pitch sounds like a corporate HR mission statement, you've got a problem. Ironheart's trailer prominently features Riri Williams stepping into Iron Man's shoes, and some viewers feel the whole thing screams, "See, we're inclusive," rather than, "Here's an awesome story." This perceived overuse of woke themes has many longtime Marvel fans rolling their eyes. And it's the old, "Get woke, grow broke" warning come to life. Next, we have undercutting legacy characters. And this is a big sore point in the sense that Marvel keeps replacing or sidelining beloved legacy heroes to prop up new ones. Ironheart is basically trying to usurp Iron Man's mantle without earning it, and fans see that as sacrilege. Tony Stark was the heart of the MCU. You don't just plug in a new character and say, "Here you go, she's the new Iron Person now, clap please." Marvel did something similar with other characters. Hawkeye passing to Kate Bishop, Hulk to She-Hulk, Thor sharing his title, etc., etc., etc. And a lot of fans view this as a trend of disrespecting the originals. In Ironheart's case, Marvel even dragged Robert Downey Jr.'s name into the marketing. The actress, Dominique Thorne, shared that RDJ gave her 2 thumbs up approval in passing. They're literally name-dropping Tony Stark's actor as if that anoints Riri Williams as the spiritual successor to Iron Man. Talk about desperation. But here's the rub. Tony Stark and Riri Williams never even met on screen. They have zero organic connection in the story. Tony was already dead by the time Riri showed up in the MCU. Trying to frame Riri as carrying Tony's legacy with a symbolic thumbs up feels more like a marketing ploy than meaningful storytelling. Fans aren't fooled by this attempt to borrow legacy credibility. If anything, it just annoys them further. Questionable writing and tone is next. The trailer's tone also raised eyebrows. Riri Williams is depicted as a super genius teenager building an iron suit from scrap, which on its face is fine. But the way it's presented feels too easy and cutesy. One quote from the promotional interviews particularly sets off fans. Thorne said, "She's dumpster diving, whereas Tony Stark was a billionaire. What she's able to accomplish is remarkable." The internet was to highlight Riri's scrappy, resourceful background, but to many this came off as diminishing Tony Stark's origin. Let's recall, Tony built the original Iron Man suit in a cave with a box of scraps, to quote Iron Man 2008, and he did it while literally dying, under threat, using nothing but genius and courage. His journey was about ingenuity, survival, and redemption, not just having money. So bragging that Riri scavenging junk makes her more authentic or impressive than Tony completely misses the point. Fans felt that this kind of writing tries to lift the new hero by tearing down the old one, a trend at Marvel that's really not going over well. It's the same pattern. Legacy heroes flawed or had it easy. New hero is better because insert reason here. That approach only alienates the audience who loved original characters. Next, we got visuals and style criticisms. On a surface level, some viewers nitpicked the trailer's aesthetics too. The CGI and suit design got some flack. Riri's Ironheart armor has a more colorful, almost cartoony look that not everyone loves. The trailer also features a hip-hop soundtrack, which a few commentators felt was out of place for the tone. These are more subjective gripes, Sure. But when you're already annoyed about the bigger issues, that being story and character, everything becomes fair game. The overall sentiment, Ironheart looks and feels more of the same mediocre post-in-game Marvel fare. Nothing fresh, nothing exciting, just a paint-by-numbers attempt at young, hip superhero that's not landing with the core fan base. So, in summary, the backlash just isn't trolling or random hate. It's coming from Marvel's own fans who feel let down and fatigued. They're saying loud and clear, give us compelling characters and stories, not reheated tropes and corporate virtue signaling. And based on the early reactions, Ironheart just hit a lot of nerves in all the wrong ways. Now, to really underscore Ironheart's predicament, let's compare it to that other trailer that dropped the same day, just a few hours later, DC's new Superman. It's rare we get such a direct A-B test in nerd culture. But here we are. Marvel served up Ironheart, and a few hours later, DC served up Superman Legacies. Or Legacy. I think he's just calling it Superman. You know, it's James Gunn's take. James Gunn directed, produced, wrote. You guys get the picture. The difference in reception was night and day. Marvel's decision to go head-to-head with Superman's trailer was, in hindsight, that was a big mistake. The Ironheart trailer was already facing skepticism. The show was done 2.5, 3 years ago. It's been put in storage until now. And then its trailer drops. And then along comes Superman. Arguably the most iconic hero of all time, coming back with a classic feel. The contrast could not have been more brutal for Marvel. As I mentioned before, Superman's trailer scored about 257,000 likes and only 7,000 dislikes, an overwhelmingly positive ratio that screams hope and hype. Meanwhile, Ironheart was struggling to stay above water with almost as many dislikes as likes, before eventually sinking underwater entirely in the like to dislike ratio. It's like the audience collectively said, we want this Superman, not that Ironheart. So, why did Superman soar while Ironheart crashed? Well, the Superman footage hit the right notes for many fans. It was felt hopeful, earnest, and true to the character's roots. Clark Kent is shown wrestling with doing the right thing in a complicated world, being heroic and sincere. A character first, not a political symbol, as one analyst puts it. There's a sense of reverence and timelessness in the Superman trailer that's been missing from a lot of recent cape flicks. In other words, it looks like a story about ideals and heroism, not a lecture or a gimmick. And guess what? Audiences responded to that in a big way. Even people who were wary of James Gunn or had DC fatigue seemed pleasantly surprised that the Superman trailer captured some classic magic. Ironheart's trailer, by contrast, gave off an odor of been there, done that within the MCU. It feels tired and formulaic. As critics pointed out, it seems to follow the same path as Marvel's recent misfires like the Marvels, Eternals, Quantumania, Captain America, Brave New World. You guys get the picture. With overly stylized visuals, constant quips, and a focus on selling an archetype, you know, the teen girl genius hero who didn't need no man, rather than telling a truly compelling story. It's as if Marvel thought they could copy-paste the template from any random Disney Plus show and audiences would clap like seals. Spoiler alert, they didn't. Ironheart came off as tired, right when Superman came off as inspired. Timing aside, it's a stark creative difference. Marvel once set the gold standard for comic book entertainment, but now DC is stepping in with a chance to capture hearts by returning to sincere, heroic storytelling. Whether DC actually delivers is yet to be seen, but in this round, Superman's trailer at least won the audience's goodwill, whereas Ironheart's lost it. One more thing to note is how each studio handled nostalgia and legacy. The Superman trailer pays homage to the spirit of the character without dismissing what came before. It doesn't try to pretend previous Supermen were irrelevant. It just says, here's a new chapter you might love. Marvel, on the other hand, is leaning hard on Iron Man's legacy to sell Ironheart, name-dropping Tony Stark, showing murals of Iron Man, etc. almost begging fans to see Riri as the next Iron Man. But instead of feeling organic, it comes across as desperate. Marvel's basically saying, hey, remember Iron Man? Please transfer your affection to Ironheart now. That strategy backfired, as fans see it as a hollow attempt to cash in on nostalgia without earning it. In the trailer Battle of the Ages, Superman embraced its legacy respectfully, while Ironheart waved someone else's legacy around like a cheap prop, and the audience has noticed. So let's hone in on the DEI and legacy character issue, because it's at the heart of why a lot of fans are rejecting Ironheart. Marvel's Phase 4 and beyond have given us a parade of new characters taking over mantles. A new Black Widow, a new Hawkeye, a new Captain America, Lady Thor, She-Hulk, you name it. Some of these have worked okay, many have not. The perception, fair or not, is that Marvel is going through a sort of diversity replacement program, swapping out tried and true heroes for newer models that check more demographic boxes. Riri Williams as Ironheart is Exhibit A of this trend, being the obvious replacement for Tony Stark in the Iron Suit department. Now, Cosmic Book News has an article out there announcing the trailer didn't mince words. It flat out called Ironheart Iron Man's DEI replacement, and said everything post Infinity War at Marvel is about woke DEI agendas. Now, myself, the Critical Nerd, is no stranger to calling out woke nonsense. And here it's easy to see why fans feel this way. Instead of building Riri Williams up through multiple films or giving her a unique role, Marvel basically plucked her from the comics, where, by the way, she was also controversial, and plopped her in as the new armored hero right after Tony's death. It feels unearned and blatantly motivated by a diversity push rather than fan demand. The Fandom Pulse blog noted that the trailer is facing immense backlash from fans precisely because viewers see Riri as a character nobody asked for, in a story that wasn't earned. Remember, Riri only had a small role in Black Panther Wakanda Forever as introduction. She hasn't gone through the crucible of winning the audience's love, but Marvel is already treating her like the next big deal. That's putting the cart before the horse, and fans know it. Moreover, Marvel's heavy-handed approach to themes like activism in this series is rubbing people the wrong way. The show is set in Riri's hometown of Chicago and apparently involves gangsters turned activists as key elements. Even the villain, the Hood, played by Anthony Ramos, is being framed through an activist lens. Cosmic Book News pointed out that in the comics, this villain had ties to Magic and Daredevil in New York, but Marvel Studios relocated the story to Chicago and injected an activist angle, presumably to fit a certain narrative. Nothing against Chicago or activism, but when fans hear that premise, many of them groan. It sounds like yet more socio-political lecturing dressed up as superhero content. It's as if Marvel forgot that we primarily watch these shows to see heroes fight bad guys and save the world, not to get a TED Talk on community organizing. The tone matters, and right now fans are perceiving Ironheart as too much PSA and not enough fun. Crucially, this DEI legacy issue is hitting Marvel where it hurts: the hardcore fan loyalty. People who grew up with Tony Stark are feeling like Marvel don't value them or the characters they love. When you constantly replace or undercut the original Avengers and other icons, you send a message, intended or not, that those characters were somehow inadequate or obsolete. That's a lousy message to send to your audience. The Ironheart backlash is, in part, longtime MCU fans saying, stop messing with our heroes' legacies. The fact that Marvel had to trot out RDJ's offhand approval of Dominique Thorne, 2 thumbs up, wow, so official, shows they know fans aren't organically warming to this character. If Marvel truly had confidence in Ironheart as a worthy successor to Iron Man, they wouldn't need to hype up a brief Robert Downey Jr. encounter to legitimize her. The whole thing smacks of insecurity. Marvel's not confident the character stands on her own, and fans can smell that fear a mile away. So, given the backlash, how's Marvel responding to all this? Well, officially, they're quiet. It's mum. Nothing. Zip, zero, nada. Which is no surprise. Marvel has largely ignored the negative reaction in public, sticking to their promotional script, which is telling it in itself. And it's the old Disney Marvel tactic. Everything's fine, nothing to see here. Move along. Or maybe blame trolls or review bombers and just hope the controversy fades. But behind the scenes, their actions speak volumes. Marvel announced that Ironheart will debut with its first 3 episodes dropping the first week on Disney Plus, June 24th, instead of the usual weekly drip. Now, they tried to spin this like it's some exciting strategy, but fans and commentators see it differently. It's basically a move to dump half the show up front to goose the numbers. This is the same strategy they pulled with the Echo series, which, not coincidentally, was another Disney Plus Marvel show they had little faith in and ultimately dumped all at once. Dropping 3 episodes on day 1 is not a show of confidence. It's a red flag indicating Marvel is bracing for a flop and wants to pump up the minutes watch stats before viewers tune out. Excuse me there. In plainer terms, if they suspect people won't stick around, better to get as many episodes in front of them ASAP. It's a gimmick to salvage some metrics and claim a win, X million minutes watched, even if interest dies off quickly. Does that sound like a studio that believes it has a hit on its hands? Not really. If Marvel truly thought Ironheart was the next must-see TV phenomenon, they'd roll out 1 episode at a time, build up buzz each week, let word of mouth grow. Instead, they're front-loading it, which screams, please don't cancel your Disney Plus sub until you've at least started the show. It's pretty telling. As one article put it, if Marvel had faith in Ironheart, they let the story speak for itself week by week. Exactly. This preemptive damage control suggests Marvel's own internal barometer knows the diehard audience isn't on board. And if Marvel is in denial about the backlash publicly, the dislike ratio and their defensive release strategy are betraying the truth. Another bit of subtle damage control, notice how the marketing leans heavily on Iron Man imagery and references. They know Ironheart on her own doesn't have the draw. So the trailer literally opens with reminders of Iron Man's legacy, plays up the connection to Wakanda because Riri debuted in Wakanda Forever, and generally tries to borrow goodwill from anything it can. Heck, they even had to assure everyone that Robert Downey Jr. gave his blessing, as mentioned. It's almost like Marvel pre-anticipated the backlash and tried to inoculate against it with nostalgia and endorsements, but that's not working. Audiences aren't fooled by cameo name drops and legacy pandering. The core Marvel fan base is more cynical now. Phase 4 will do that to you. And they judge what's in front of them. And what they see in front of them in Ironheart's trailer just isn't impressive or appealing enough. So, in conclusion, the Ironheart trailer backlash is a huge reality check for Marvel. One they desperately needed. The surge in dislikes and the scathing fan commentary are more than just noise. It's a clear message from the audience that they feel like they're being sold a product rather than told a good story. The fans have spoken with their clicks and unclicks, effectively saying, we're tired of the same cookie-cutter MCU formulas, tired of legacy heroes being disrespected, and tired of hollow diversity pushes that don't respect the material. Marvel at one time, they used to be the studio that could do no wrong, but that era is over. Now they're looking increasingly out of touch with the very people who made the MCU a phenomenon. The verdict from this early reaction is brutal but necessary. Ironheart feels like another round of the same old formula, flashy visuals, shallow messaging, and a studio more concerned with optics than with impact. And guess what? The fans see it too. and they're rejecting it. Meanwhile, competitors like DC with Superman are stepping up with stories that embrace what fans have been craving: sincerity, heroism, and a little respect for the classics. Marvel, you paying attention? It might be time for Marvel Studios to go back to the drawing board and remember what made their early phases great. Hint: it wasn't chasing trends or using heroes as mouthpieces. It was solid character-driven storytelling. The Ironheart backlash, as painful as it looks with those dislike numbers, could be a wake-up call. Will Marvel listen or just double down and put their fingers in their ears? Only time will tell. For now, this has been a sarcastic reality check courtesy of The Critical Nerd. If you enjoyed this frank rant, be sure to smash that like button, or heck, hit dislike. It's free country, I can take it. Leave a comment below with your thoughts. Are you one of those thousands who will hit dislike on the Ironheart trailer? Do you think Marvel will course correct, or are we in for more of the same? Let me know what you think. Until next time, stay nerdy. And remember, you can't armor plate a bad story with good intentions. See you in the next one.